Altogether, we had 185 traffic stops, 45 citations, 10 arrests, and 5 DWIs were involved in that. Warrants for the municipal court were 32 in number. Officers were called for service 1,842 times. That's an average of 61 calls a day for the month of August. Reports taken were 138, which averaged 4.6 reports a day and had 21 arrests. The animal shelter, 6 citations were written. 21 dogs and puppies were picked up. No cats were picked up. 11 dogs were returned to their owners. 3 dogs were adopted, and 3 cats were adopted. Now, a few things about Halloween. Trick or treat on the square will be October 24th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Marshall Cinema will have a haunted house on October 24th and 25th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And if you're trick or treating on Halloween night, please make sure the children are visible for on the road. This means something reflective or a light beam on them, and have the children go to the door only with the front porch lights are on, and be respective while at the door. So that's all I have, Your Honor.
With the supposed toilet paper shortage, it's probably okay to toilet paper houses this year. It might be appreciated. Okay, thank you. Municipal Services and Personnel Committee, Council Members Brandt and Green.
Drew, you got anything, or?
No, I was just wondering if we knew, everything looks like it's going pretty good out there with the taxiway and the apron. Oh, okay, yeah. Is that concrete cured to where we can drive on that yet, or do you know when that's?
Well, they said they broke a cylinder today and is up to 3,900 PSI. Normally it was up over 4,000 before they.
Okay.
So it is real close.
Yeah,
They saw an expansion in the day, and then they're gonna, hopefully toward the end of the week.
next couple days will probably, okay, and then they're moving to the south?
Phase 2, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks really good. It's been some nice weather to really keep it clipping out there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
Let me ask one question.
Yes, sir.
What's going on down here in front of the library?
Oh.
It looks like you're tearing the street back up again.
Yeah, we had to tear that back up, and then we're gonna pour concrete tomorrow.
Oh, okay, okay. Make way for the concrete then.
6 inches, and then put steel in, we're gonna pour 20 yards out there tomorrow.
Okay, okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just had, our last meeting was back on October 1st. We'll have another meeting coming up in December. Municipal Services on December 3rd, I believe, is our next scheduled meeting. And Randy said that all the equipment for the pedestrian crossing is in. It's just a matter of getting that company in to install it. It won't take very long to do that. Other than that, I do have one thing to add on the Halloween thing. We live on Eastwood. We get 700 or 800 Halloween kids every year. I have noticed that a lot of parents give their kids Walmart sacks to put their candy in. And a lot of Walmart sacks have a hole in the bottom of them. And a lot of these kids are losing their candy, and I know they're not liking it. So just a reminder, try to give them a little better sack than one that has a hole in it, so.
I find an awful lot.
I find candy all up and down Eastwood when I walk now the next morning, so,
Breaking my heart. Okay.
yeah.
Property Finance Budget and Audit Committee, Councilmember Patrick.
Yeah, sorry, our committee meeting got postponed today, and so I have no report.
Okay. Community Development and Code Committee, Councilmembers Cook and Allen.
You got anything first? No. Okay, well, we had 24 building permits issued. 2 of those were new residential construction, so that's good. I think one of those is probably some of the new houses that's being built out there at the hospital lot. I believe one of them is. So we got that, and then we've got 11 electrical permits issued, 1 mechanical permit, and 8 plumbing permits. That's a total of 44 permits issued this month. for $1,395,861, and that resulted in a collection of $6,740 in permit fees. And then we had some violations, and there's not as many violations as there has been because all the grass is dying. But we had 2 for accumulated junk and debris, 2 for building code violations, and 9 for property maintenance, which is still tall grass and weeds. So we had 13 violations with notices sent, and the next code violation hearing is gonna be the 23rd, right? That's a week from tomorrow, right here, at 8:30 in the morning. So, oh, and before the next meeting is our committee meeting again at 5 o'clock. I don't know if it'll be here or in there, depends on how many people show up.
That's an open meeting, that's what we're trying to do, is to have an open committee meetings with plenty of notification.
If a lot of the public would like to show up, then we could sit in here where it's comfortable, and if a lot of the public don't, then we'll sit in there where it's comfortable.
You're comfortable either way, yeah.
Either way.
Okay, great. There's no city administrator's report tonight. I've got 3 things kind of to discuss. 2 of them are just get the public caught up on where we're at. The first thing I think I'd like to talk about is High Street. As you know, we've been dealing with grain trucks going through there, and we thought we'd have that problem resolved by now because we thought we'd have a new truck route by now. But we're still waiting on MoDOT and maybe 1 or 2 other things. It's positive, but it hasn't happened yet. So I got a call from one of the residents asking if we could put a truck weight limit on High Street. So talked to Ms. Bellamy about that, and we'll talk with JD when he's back, and we'll see if maybe we can do something to alleviate that problem, at least in the short term, until we have something specific and final from MoDOT. So we're on that. The next thing is Habitat for Humanity is looking at some property. I wrote you all a note about it. It's 500 and 502 Carroll Street. That's basically 2 lots that were smaller that have been turned into 1. And if I'm correct, Cherie, it's now just 502 Carroll. And there's no lien on it, but they want to get started, and there's a little paperwork involved, but they've got a time commitment because they're starting the interviews for new applicants. So if there's, I just want to hear if there's any objections to proceeding on that so that Habitat can make their plans. If there's any objections, I'd like to hear them now. If not, they can probably proceed in good faith, knowing that we're going to transfer that property at some future point.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm on the board, Aaron Gibson's on the board, everything's clean on that, and just want to make sure, if you got any questions, feel free to contact Aaron or me, and we can move forward on that. So, there we go, we can move forward on it. Okay, the last is the fuel tax. Drew's spoken to this, we've all, and I think Dan did a little bit too. I'm gonna go over this again real quick. Next year, we've got, not this coming year, but the year following, we still got $750,000 toward street developments that's outside of our normal general revenue budget. We are nearing the end of our ARPA money, so at some point, we're going to have a $750,000 loss. It's not a shortfall in the general revenue. The general revenue is going to stay the same, but it's insufficient to continue to do roads at the pace we're doing now. And we're keeping up, but we're certainly not where we want to be. So a fuel tax is something we've been looking at. And Drew, I think right now we're looking at 2 cents, but it might be more, but it's kind of hard to figure out, even when you're doing it, what kind of money you're going to get, because different cities, there's not that many cities in the state of Missouri that have used it, but it seems to be going over well. The people don't feel aggrieved by it as they might with a sales tax or a property tax, because it's a user tax, and if you don't drive, you don't pay anything. So 2 cents, it wouldn't even be worth it to drive down to the junction for the difference in the price to come back here. The problem is the way it's valued, and Julie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in towns in the city of Missouri, it's valued by your population, whereas in counties, if they had a county fuel tax, I think it's by the number of miles of road in the county. And so there's really no plan there's only 7 or 8 communities that use it. One of them as high as 3 cents fuel tax. And also, there's another problem. It's not just a simple majority that has to pass that. It's got to be a supermajority of 66.67% of the people. So we really have to sell it. But what I'm trying to say is, if we don't have something, we're going to drop back to where we were 6 years ago on the roads, and we won't be able to keep up with anything more than potholes and minor repairs. Where this tax would increase, we think, somewhere between $200,000 and $400,000 a year, where we can also work on sidewalks and keep the roads up. So that's what we're looking at. We're still trying to get the final information, but we're hoping to maybe put that on the April ballot so that we can have something to look forward to, and we can start planning ahead and keep a 2 or 3 year plan up there for everybody to know. Am I stating that correctly?
Yes, and I would just piggyback on the reason we opted for possibly the fuel tax over just a generic sales tax. We know there's a higher threshold, but we're also all very well aware of the idea of mistrust and misusing funds, and so we thought the fuel tax is regulated by the state. You cannot use it on anything but road. And so we didn't want the citizens to think that we were just gonna pass a sales tax and not use it for the road. So, and the fuels tax is, like he said, anybody that comes into town and shops, well, then they're helping pay for our roads. So, we just wanted to start to build trust with the citizens, even though there's a higher threshold to pass it. We would hope that you would, well, you know it's gonna be used for that, because we can't use it for anything else, but we just wanted to start building trust with the citizens.
And we don't want people to think that we're dipping into general revenue. If we get that tax, we'll still be using some general revenue funds to supplement that and augment that so that we can keep the streets up to a good level. But at this point, we don't exactly know what that fuel tax is gonna bring. So we'll have to have budget hearings and informational hearings, and we will have, if we ever put that on the ballot, we will have 2 or 3 nights where we can talk to the public here or any other venue that might be necessary, just to get the word out. So that's where we are on that.
Would that be on the airport also?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the streets. I don't think it's airport at all. We'd have to look at that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's just streets.
Streets and sidewalks, public conveyance.
And it allows us to stay aggressive like we have been. I mean, we've
Right.
got some back work to do, so.
Dan, you got anything else on that? Okay, great. That's where we're at. That's all I've got for tonight on that. So business from the audience, limited to 3 minutes per speaker. You can come up to the microphone so we can get you recorded and just state your name, and that'd be great. I know we've got one. Anybody else? Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and esteemed council and ladies in the audience and everyone else in the audience. I just want to talk about one more time. So I'm Matt Rayner. I live on Ray Street. I am the library director. And on November 5th, we have Proposition L on the ballot. Proposition L is a quarter-cent sales tax that will sunset after 15 years in 2039. And what we plan to do with this is renovate the building at 102 East Morgan, move out of the basement here so you guys can open that up for other uses. I've heard a few ideas there, but it will help to consolidate some city funds. But yeah, we would love to renovate 102 East Morgan and make it a new sort of 21st century library with a lot of technology. We also want to expand our hours. Right now we close at 7 p.m. and we'd like to stay open till at least 9 p.m. so families can come in after they eat dinner and grab a book or grab a DVD. We also want to hire a full-time children's librarian. Currently we have a wonderful children's librarian, however she works part-time, and we do a great reading program every Wednesday from 10 to 10:30 and other great programs throughout the year. But if we could bring her on full-time, we would really see an increase in children's literacy and just really, all the benefits that brings to the community. So a yes vote means we will renovate the library. We will expand our hours. We'll expand access to technology for the citizens and our patrons. We will hire a full-time children's librarian, and we'll also plan for the future with that money. A no vote will mean we stay in the basement of City Hall for the foreseeable future, and then as costs continue to rise, we may have to cut back hours like we have. Earlier when we opened in 1990, we were open for a lot more hours during the week, so we'd like to be open on Sundays and throughout the the week, longer hours. So, you know, the Prop L will be on the ballot. It will be on the back side of the ballot. So if you're a Marshall voter and you don't see it there, make sure you ask for the proper ballot, because once you cast your vote, you can't go back and change it. But it's the last question on the ballot, and I just wanted to give you that information tonight, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, thank you for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, Ron?
Being married to a member of the library board, I hear this stuff a lot. The cost of this to the average person, it's 1/4 of 1%.
Correct.
So if you spend $100, it's gonna cost you 25 cents.
That's correct.
So for every 100 it's an extra quarter. We're not talking about,
Yeah.
massive amounts that are gonna have a huge impact
Yeah.
on a lot of.
Yeah, so the, you know, a quarter cent is, so if you spend $4, it's a penny. If you spend $100, it's a quarter. And one thing that we like about a sales tax, is that it will spread the base out. So anyone who comes through town, and we've had a lot of events here recently, so anyone who comes through town will be paying into that tax as well. And, you know, other entities in town, the park collects a 1/2 cent, and so, you know, that also anyone who comes to town helps to support our parks as well, so. Thank you very
Matt.
much. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good night.
you.
Thanks.
Anybody else wish to speak? Great. Okay, we're up to ordinances. Could the clerk give the second reading by title only, please, for the agreement between the City of Marshall and Marshall Municipal Band?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute an agreement between the city of Marshall, Missouri and the Marshall Municipal Band.
Any discussion? Do I have a motion and a second to approve this?
So move, Your Honor. Guthrie.
Guthrie?
Second, Green.
Roll call, please.
Paprick,
Yes.
Guthrie,
Yes.
Thompson, Allen,
Yes.
Swisher, Brandt,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
Passes. Next, we're going to execute a contract, similar situation between the City of Marshall and the Marshall Community Chorus. Can I have the clerk give a second reading by title only, please?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute a contract between the city of Marshall and the Marshall Community Chorus for the provision of concerts in the city of Marshall.
Can I have a motion, a second to approve?
Move to approve the second reading?
Brandt.
Second, Guthrie.
Roll call, please.
Guthrie,
Yes.
Thompson, Allen,
Yes.
Swisher, Brandt,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick.
Yes.
Passes. Finally, on the second, on these, same thing, between the City of Marshall and Marshall Philharmonic Orchestra. Can I have the clerk give a second reading by title only, please?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Marshall, Missouri to execute a contract between the city of Marshall and the Marshall Philharmonic Orchestra for the provision of concerts in the city of Marshall.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve this?
Motion to approve.
Second, Allen.
Did you get that, Julie?
I did.
Okay, roll call, please.
Thompson, Allen,
Yes.
Swisher, Brandt,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Guthrie.
Yes.
Bill paying time. Can I have the clerk give the first reading for the appropriations by title only, please?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
Can I have a motion, a second, to take this to a second reading?
Move to take this to a second reading. Green.
Second, Paprick.
Roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
Swisher, Brandt,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Guthrie,
Yes.
Thompson.
Can I have the clerk give a second reading by title only, please?
An ordinance making the appropriation for the payment of accounts out of the different city funds.
Do I have a motion and a second to approve the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Paprick.
Paprick and Guthrie.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Swisher, Brandt,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Paprick,
Yes.
Guthrie,
Yes.
Thompson, Allen.
Yes.
Passes. Any other council business? Yes.
Did you, well, there's a letter in here from Mary Williams about changing the date for the next meeting.
Oh, yeah. You can see the people here. Anybody gonna have a problem that's here tonight, because you're usually the ones that are here, if we continue to have our meeting on election night, Tuesday the 5th? Or would you rather sit on another night? Do you think you can get the voting done before that? I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious. There was a legitimate request by some people to change the meeting night from the 5th to another night to accommodate people voting. We haven't done it in the past for that. I just wanted to bring it up and make sure. Think there's any major problem with that? Okay, we won't, that's all we're gonna do then. That's fine on that. Anything else from the council? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Because that's who he is. And anybody else?
So I am.
Second, Alan.
Alan? All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.